While creating this series, I have become very impressed with Strapi and the things it can do and the way it does things. It does things in a very elegant way, as you will see in this episode. So in this episode we are going to add a movie or multiple movies to our Strapi backend, but using our frontend. So we are going to add some movies from our Next.js application into our Strapi backend. And as you will see, Strapi will make this very easy and elegant for us to do. Strapi also has great documentation, so if you go to their documentation, search for controllers, because Strapi is an MVC framework, it has controllers and models. I don't think it has views, but it has models and controllers. So you go to controllers, you go down here a little bit, and you will find a code that we need for what we are going to be doing today. So you have code for finding, find one, count, and for create. So we want to create a record in our Strapi database. And to do that, we will just copy this code. We will go to our code editor in our Strapi app, right? So this is very important. I'm going to close all of this out so I can show you. So if you go to our API, you can see that all of our content types have their own directories. So for us, movie is going to be an important one, and also controllers. So in controllers, you have movie.js. If you click it, you see that this is practically an empty file. What you can do, you can just copy that code right here. Great. In the example from the website, they are defining a content type called restaurant. We don't have that, so we have movies. So we are just going to change this to be movie, not a restaurant. And that's about it. Save this. Now one more thing I want to show you. In the config directory, you have routes.json, and as you can see, there are defined routes right here. So you have movies route to get all the movies, you have count route, we actually use this one. You have movie ID to get the single movie, but what is important for us right here is this one. So the path for it is movies, but the method is post. So we want to post something to that route, and then it's going to say movie.create, and it's going to call this code right here. And this code is going to take our data as this context, and then it's going to check if you are sending a multi-part form or if you are just sending a single entry, which we are going to be doing. So it's going to use this code to fill out our database. Of course, you can change this and make it do whatever you like, but for now and for this example, this is going to be totally enough for us. So that's the part of code that we need to do in Strapi. Next thing we need to do in Strapi is we need to go to our administration. So go right here, you go to roles and permissions, and you go to authenticated again. And right here we have movie. And as you can see, I already did this. So I added create and update to be protected routes, right? You could do that in your public. So if we go right here and do public, so then everyone can add something to our backend, but we want only for authenticated users to be able to create and update our movies. Of course, count, find one, and find are going to be publicly available so that everybody can see the movies, but only authenticated users can create and update the movies. And I think that's about it for the Strapi part. Now let's get to Next.js part. In our Next.js application, we are going to create a new file. So we are going to create a new page, and it's going to be, of course, inside of pages, and it's going to be called add movie.js. And I'm just going to change the language of this language mode to be JavaScript React. And once I have this, I have a created snippet, which I can just do something like this, comp, do this, and I get the bootstrapping for my component. So this is going to be called add movie. And when I press tab, I'm going to be able to add the title for this page, and that's about it, right? So we created the new component or new page with just few presses of a button. Okay, let's just see if this works. So if I go right here and go add movie, as you can see, I have new page, add movie, in which we are going to access to add some movies to our Strapi backend. We are going to be needing a few things for this to work. So first of all, I'm just going to import a few stuff. So get config, of course, because we need our API. We need the path to our API. We are going to use state, parse cookies, and also I'm going to get public runtime config so that we can read our .env file. Okay, great. Now, after this, we want to add a form right here. So the form is going to consist of 2 input fields and 1 button, because we are just going to add movie title and movie slug. We are not going to complicate this episode. Of course, you could add images and whatever else you like, but I just want to show you a primer of how you can get your data to your Strapi backend from your frontend. Okay, great. So first of all, we are going to create an input field of type text, and it's going to have a placeholder of movie title. Then we are going to add another one, and this is going to have a placeholder of movie slug. Okay, and we are going to add a button which is just going to say add movie. Next thing, I just want to add some styles right here so that our input fields look kind of nice. Save this and check out our page. As you can see, so we have add movie, movie title, movie slug, and add movie. Great. So next we need to implement some logic so that we can send the data that the user inputs in this field, in these fields, and send them to our Strapi backend. Now, of course, we already did something very similar to this in the previous episode, so I would advise you to check out that episode so that you know what we are doing right here. So now we are going to need some state management right here. So I'm going to add a movie title and a movie slug, and the functions of set movie title and set movie slug, which are going to be using useState hook to be able to set the state for our component so that we can set the movie title and movie slug. Of course, this is going to be incorporated inside of these input fields. So when somebody writes something into our input field, those states are actually going to get filled out. Very similarly to what we did in the previous episode when we want to log in. So we are just going to do on change. Set movie title is going to be the value of this input field, and the same thing we are going to do for our movie slug. Okay, so now we set that up. Next thing we need to do, we need to add some function to our button. So when somebody clicks the button, we want to call a function that we are going to create, and that function is going to be called add movie. So on click, add movie. Great. So now we need to create that function, and it's going to be an async function because we are going to be using fetch. So we need to just do async function add movie. Next thing we want to do, we want to parse the cookies. Remember, we are going to send that data to our backend, but we want to send the cookies so that we can authenticate ourselves. Also, we want to send the movie info. So movie info is going to be movie title and the slug. We are using movie underscore title and just a slug because those are the name of the fields in our movie content type. So if I go to our Strapi administration and do movies, you can see, so the movie title is this, the slug is this. So you need to name the fields in your movie info just like the fields that you have in your content type. Okay, so we created our movies. Now we need to send this data to our Strapi backend. And for that, of course, we are going to be using fetch. Remember, we want to send this data to the movies route, but with the post method. So I'm just going to do const add. We are going to await fetch. Of course, we read our API URL and we are sending something to the movies. Method is of course going to be post. And now we need some headers to authenticate ourselves to the application or to our Strapi backend. Okay, so we are accepting application JSON, content type is application JSON, but authorization is bearer and this JWT which we are getting from the cookie. As I said, check the previous episode if you don't know what's going on here. And of course, we need to send our data at the end of everything. So in the body of our request, we are just going to send JSON stringify movie info. And that's about it. Next, we wanna wait for that response and console log it out just so that we can see what we are getting from our Strapi backend. So we do const. We're just going to call this variable add response and we are awaiting for add.json because we call this variable right here just add. Okay, and now we can console log out this add response. And I think that should actually be it. Let's just save this and test it out. Okay, so let's just add a movie title. Let me make this bigger. Let's just add a movie title, new movie, and the slug is going to be new movie. Click add movie. And as you can see, this actually works. We are getting the ID of the movie, which of course Strapi is going to handle for us, so it's just going to add the next ID that needs to add. You got movie title, the description is null, release date is null because we didn't fill those out, but the slug is new movie. Great. Now if we go to our Strapi backend, go to movies, as you can see, this is our movie with the ID of 24. Great. So you have a new movie right here, add it from your front end. Of course, if we do something like this, so I'm going to go to the application, you go to cookies, and we want to search for our JWT cookie and remove it. So if I remove this right now, refresh this page, and now try to add a movie right here. So I'm just going to do another movie and click add movie. Now we get post 401, status code and so on. So of course you can use this message right here to handle your errors. So as you can see, Strapi returns to us the status code 401, the error is unauthorized and invalid token. Because we don't have a token, we can't add a movie right here. But if we go to our login page, click login, we of course get to the paid articles page, which we did in the previous episode. Now we have our JWT token and we can authenticate ourselves with it, so we can now add movies. So let's just do it again. Click add movie and the movie is added. If we check it out in our Strapi backend, another movie is right here with the ID of 25. As you can see, this is very easy to do with Strapi and Nextjs as your frontend. So anyway guys, this has been it for this episode. Remember, everything we did here will be available for you on GitHub. The link will be in the description below. And as always, thank you guys for watching and I will see you in the next one.